Okay, I need you to meet Sarah. Sarah is 34. She's a veterinarian. She works at an emergency clinic in Ohio. And last Tuesday, she pulled a sewing needle out of a golden retriever's stomach. The week before, she helped a family say goodbye to their 16-year-old cat named Mr. Whiskers. She cried in her car afterward. Sarah is also $242,000 in debt. At 9% interest, her student loans grow by $52 every single night while she sleeps. $52 every night for the last 7 years, and for the next 22 years if she's lucky. Here's what's crazy. Sarah is not the exception. She's the average. And here's what's crazier. The reason she's broke has almost nothing to do with her. It has to do with a candy bar company, a group of Wall Street investors, and a trap that's about to hit every profession in America. Let's get into it. Americans love their pets, like really love them. Last year, we spent $38 billion on vet care. Billion. With a B, vet bills went up 60% in the last 10 years. That's almost triple the rate of regular inflation. If your groceries had gone up like vet bills, a gallon of milk would cost $9 right now. And yet, here's the thing that makes no sense. Vets are making, adjusted for inflation, about the same as they made in 2004. Let me say that again so it sinks in. Pet owners are paying way more. Vet practices are making record revenue. Wall Street has dumped $51 billion into this industry since 2017. But the actual veterinarian, the person looking your dog in the eye, their paycheck hasn't moved in 20 years. So where's all that money going? Strap in. Because the answer is kind of insane. First, you need to understand how vets get into this mess. Becoming a vet costs roughly the same as becoming a doctor. You need a 4-year bachelor's degree. Then you take the worst test of your life called the GRE. Then you apply to veterinary school, which has an acceptance rate lower than Harvard Law. If you're one of the lucky ones who gets in, congratulations. Here's your bill. 1 year at Cornell's vet school, $67,000, and that's just tuition. Add rent, food, books, equipment, a stethoscope that costs $200, because of course it does, and you're looking at $90,000 a year for 4 years. So by the time Sarah walked across that graduation stage, she owed $212,000. Not for a house, not for a business, for the piece of paper that lets her help animals. To put that in perspective, $200,000 is more than the median home price in 21 American states. Sarah's student loans could buy a 3-bedroom house in Ohio, outright, in cash. And then the interest kicks in. Federal grad school loans hit 9% interest in 2024. 9. Not 3, like a mortgage. Not 4, like a car loan. 9. On $200,000, the monthly payment is $2,540. Now, what does Sarah actually earn? The average starting salary for a new vet is $129,000 a year. Sounds great, right? 6 figures. Let's do her math. After federal taxes, Ohio state tax, Medicare, and Social Security, Sarah takes home about $7,400 a month. Rent in a decent Columbus apartment, $2,300, gone. Student loans, $2,540, gone. Car payment on her 6-year-old Subaru, $600, gone. Phone, internet, electricity, gas, $400, gone. Insurance, $200, gone. That's $6,040 of fixed costs on a $7,400 paycheck. Sarah has about $1,300 a month left for food, gas, clothes, emergencies, a haircut, a birthday gift, everything. She makes 6 figures, and she's 1 car repair away from a credit card spiral. For every dollar she earns, she owes $1.40. If she pays the minimum for the next 22 years, she'll still be sending monthly payments when she turns 56. Her kids, if she has them, will be in college while she's still paying off her own. Okay, so that's bad. But Here's where this story stops being sad and starts being suspicious. Because if pet owners are paying more and vet practices are making more, the math should fix itself, right? More revenue, more pay. That's how businesses work. So, why is Sarah still broke? Because around 2014, something quietly happened, and nobody outside the industry noticed. Wall Street found vets. Picture this. You're a private equity firm. You manage billions of dollars for rich clients. You're always looking for industries that are underperforming. What does that mean? It means they make money. But not as much money as they could if a bunch of suits took over and squeezed every inefficiency out of them. Somebody in a conference room in Manhattan looked at the veterinary industry and had a revelation. This industry is perfect. People will pay literally anything to save a pet. The clinics are all small, family-owned operations, which means you can buy them up cheap and consolidate. There's recurring revenue from annual checkups and vaccines. And here's the best part. Most of the vets are introverted scientists who went to school to help animals, not to fight off corporate raiders. So they started buying. Now, listen to this. Mars Incorporated. Yes, the company that makes M&Ms and Snickers. They now own over 2,000 veterinary clinics in the United States. Banfield, VCA, Blue Pearl, all Mars. There's a pretty good chance that the last time you took your dog to the vet, you paid a candy bar company. Jab Holdings, another massive investment firm, owns 1,000 more clinics. Between 2017 and 2023, Wall Street dumped over $51 billion into vet care. In just the first 4 months of 2024, another $9 billion. That's more money flowing into vet care in 4 months than in entire years of the 2000s. Today, 30% of general vet practices are corporate owned. 75% of emergency and specialty hospitals, up from around 8% in 2014. And here's what happens when a candy bar company owns your vet. Prices go up. An emergency visit that used to cost $300 now averages $1,800. Routine blood work doubled. The test is the same. The lab is the same. The ownership changed. Vets get squeezed. They get production quotas. They get pushed to recommend more tests. They get pressured to upsell. They didn't go to school for 8 years to turn into a used car salesman with a stethoscope. And their contracts? Non-compete clauses. If Sarah wants to quit big corporate vet chain and open her own clinic down the street, she legally cannot. Not for 1 to 3 years, depending on the state. So, she's trapped. $240,000 in debt, working for a salary set by a corporation she's never met, at a clinic she will never, ever own. Treating pets at prices she doesn't control. And this is where the story gets really dark. 52% of American pet owners have said no to vet care because they couldn't afford it. Not because they didn't love their pet, because the bill was $3,500 and they had $800 in the bank. 500,000 animals a year are now euthanized purely for financial reasons. The industry has a phrase for this. They call it economic euthanasia. It wasn't even a term 20 years ago. And think about Sarah for a second. When a family walks into her clinic with a dog that can be saved for $4,000 and they can't pay, Sarah is the one who has to do the euthanasia. Not the CEO of Mars, not the hedge fund manager in Manhattan. Sarah. She's the one holding the needle. She's the one watching the family cry. And then she's walking back to her office where her laptop is open to her loan statement. This is why veterinarians have one of the highest suicide rates of any profession in the country. Female vets are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide than the general population. Almost every vet surveyed recently said student debt was one of their biggest daily stressors. They love the animals. They love the work. They just can't afford to keep doing it. Okay, so why are you watching this if you're not a vet? Because this isn't a vet story. It's a preview. What happened to vets is happening right now in dentistry, in physical therapy, in emergency medicine, in mental health care, in landscaping, of all things. Wall Street has figured out the playbook, and they are running it everywhere. So here's what I want you to take away. 1. Before you sign any loan for any degree, run this math. Total debt divided by your realistic first-year salary. Under 1, you're fine. Between 1 and 1.4, be careful. Over 1.5, it's a trap. The vet ratio is 1.4. Dentistry often hits 2. Chiropractic can be over 3. Schools won't show you this number, you have to calculate it yourself. 2. Prestige is a luxury good, and luxury goods depreciate the moment you buy them. Vet, academia, non-elite law school, architecture, journalism, they all share the same DNA. High training cost, high status, mediocre financial outcome. If you wouldn't pay $200,000 for a Rolex, think twice about paying it for a degree. 3. You can love the work without the trap. Want to help animals? Veterinary tech is a 2-year degree. Pays $40,000 to $50,000, zero debt. Zoology with a government pension. Animal product sales at major pharma companies. 6 figures with just a bachelor's. Wildlife biology. You don't have to sign an 8-year contract to be close to the thing you love. 4. Watch for Wall Street in your own industry. The warning signs are everywhere once you know what to look for. Local businesses getting quietly bought up. Contracts suddenly have non-compete clauses. Pay structures shift from salary to commission or production bonuses. Prices go up for customers while wages stay flat for workers. If 3 of these are happening where you work, your earning ceiling is lower than you think. And 5, this is the hardest one. The most dangerous sentence in personal finance starts with, "But it's my dream." Dreams matter. I'm not telling you to give up. I'm telling you to make your dream pass the math test first. Because there's almost always a version of the dream that costs 80% less and gives you 80% of the joy. Sarah, the vet from the beginning of this video, will be paying her student loans until 2046. She's the average, not the exception. When pre-vet students come to her asking for advice, she tells them the same 3 words every single time. Run the numbers. The vet crisis isn't just about vets. It's about what happens when we let Wall Street buy an entire profession. And the next profession on their list is probably yours. Understand the game before you sit down at the table. I'm Money Made Simple, and next week I'll show you exactly how to run the numbers on any career choice. In 12 minutes or less, hit subscribe. You're going to want that one.